All right, y'all, we are live on Monday morning. God bless everybody in the name of Jesus. I do pray everyone had a wonderful weekend. I hope everyone is super blessed in many ways. As Bitcoin, guys, we need to talk about this dang Bitcoin price action, all right? And we got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat right now. First of all, major shout out to Crypto Hunter, Bobby. I think the fecal matter got a big drop in her. Shout out to Trader Mode. Sup, everybody. Merry Christmas. Shout out to Marcus Bot 4402. 100K today, I heard. Man, can you imagine? Shout out to Casper. Says Ethereum at 3030. 33, the entry those elite female dogs like. Shout out to 14 days in. Bitcoin will be 82,000 by the end of the week. Shout out to Investment Time with the plungers, and a major shout out to Crypto Coons holding it down with the wrench. Hang on, guys, I got a weird itch on my leg here. What the heck? All right, everything looks okay. All right, whew. Shout out to Alex Wells and Moose Man SM2NW, who says LOL. We got to give a major shout out to Crypto Crank in the house. What is going on, bro? Shout out to Wealthy Way Up Crypto Trading 9398, who says, I think when you think you know it all, the market do the opposite and fire up with a God candle. We are going up. Maybe we're going up. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat as usual, guys. Oh, major shout out to Preparing for War. DXY going down, baby. And shout out to Shogun Crypto in the house. Man, God bless all of you guys up in here right now. Guys, as usual, if we can get 1,000 likes in the first 30 minutes, we'll be giving away 1,000 United States dollar tethers. Okay? And also, guys, just a quick reminder, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the stream. If you want to trade, make sure to check out good old KCEX. I'm also trading on WEEX. And I'm also trading on BLOFIN and ZoomX. And honestly, ZoomX, that reminds me, guys, you know, a little while ago, I remember I mentioned that I could probably do 30 pull-ups unbroken in a row. Touch and go pull-ups, all right? We're not talking like dead hang all the way up, dead hang all the way up. We're talking like, you know, the kind you know, you're just banging them out. And I said I'd record a video. I never did, but this morning I remembered it. I recorded a video. Turns out I can only do 29 pull-ups, all right? Actually, I think I could do 30. It was my second set. But maybe I'll show that video as well. The reason why ZoomX reminds me of that is because this morning I was wearing my ZoomX hoodie. And by the way, ZoomX partnered up with Jason Casper, deposit and trade to win bonuses and a Rolex watch. You know, that's how you know you've really made it in life, when you win a Rolex watch from trading crypto on leverage on ZoomX. That's how you know you've really made it in life. All right. Guys, the Fear and Greed Index today is at 25. Much less fear in the market than there was last week. Last week we were at 16. Last month, guys, in November, we were at an 11. Things are cooling off, but we're still in extreme fear. All right? We're still in extreme fear. Not as extreme as last month. All right? Some very interesting things in the news. First of all, JP Morgan Chase, a very popular bank, is exploring crypto trading for institutional clients, according to Bloomberg News. Wow. This is actually, I think, significant for crypto. All right. Basically, JP Morgan, one of the largest banks in the world, is considering offering cryptocurrency trading services to its institutional clients. Like we're talking the big boys, man. Asset managers, hedge fund managers. All right. This would include spot and derivative trading. All right. Futures, crypto future. Can you imagine Jamie Dimon himself trading Bitcoin on KCEX? That's what he's gonna do. That's what they're gonna. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe Jamie Dimon's not gonna be trading on KCEX, but they're gonna be trading derivative and spot. It's pretty. Now, okay, nothing's finalized yet, guys. Nothing's finalized yet. Okay, and JP Morgan has not officially commented on it. It's just been reported from Bloomberg. All right. So apparently somebody from Bloomberg saw the plans. All right. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it does show that Wall Street banks, including Jamie Dimon himself. I'm just kidding. Jamie Dimon is not a part of this at all. But it is showing that big banks are more serious about crypto. All right? People are taking it seriously. It's an actual asset now. Institutional TradFi is on board. Okay? This would be crazy. Can you imagine a potential crypto trading program? That would be pretty big for crypto in general. All right. Now, something else that's a little bit interesting that has basically a lot of people have been concerned about the fact that, well, Bitcoin miners are going to keep selling Bitcoin, right? Because they're losing money. As Bitcoin continues to dump, they're losing money. This article just talks about how Bitcoin miners can't necessarily dump an infinite amount of Bitcoin. They have to do it in a very controlled way. So this article is basically saying, don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic, because the miners aren't going to dump Bitcoin anymore. I thought this was an interesting article. I thought it was very interesting because, well, I know that there's a lot of, how do I say it? Not speculation, but there's a lot of misunderstandings about how Bitcoin miners actually make money and when they sell and all that kind of stuff. All this to say, I find the timing of this article a little bit strange. Because we are heading into, I think, a period of time where there is some significant downward pressure here. And whenever people in the beginning of bear markets post articles like this to calm people down, I don't know, I feel like it usually doesn't end very well. All right? I hope I'm wrong. And I hope that because this bull market has been so terrible, the bear market will be just as terrible. All right? I really hope the bear market will be just as terrible as the bull run. Speaking of bear markets and bull markets, Donald Trump will bail out crypto holders in 2026. My goodness. Would you look at this face? My goodness, man. There's nothing that makes me more proud to be an American than this right here. My goodness, I think I'm going to get this tattooed right on my forehead. My goodness. Wow, what a great sight. I could look at this picture forever, honestly. But this is it's a very interesting article, man. This is a crazy article. All right, so basically, if a major crypto crisis happens, such as a big stablecoin depeg or a major exchange fails, according to this article, Donald Trump might step in with a government bailout to prevent a broader financial fallout. Apparently, Trump has political and financial incentives to protect crypto since it's become more integrated into markets. And there are already tools such as the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and the Exchange Stabilization Fund that could be used in such a situation. So this article is speculating that if there is a big crypto crash, Donald Trump might use government power to bail out holders to protect financial stability. I thought this was just a very interesting article, considering the fact that basically the election of Donald Trump marked the top for many altcoins, and pretty much, I mean, you know, from November 2024, you know, basically we have been in that range since the election, right? I mean, this was the election, the day of the election. And we have literally, I mean, we're back where we started, man. I just think that's kind of interesting. Look at this range here. Now that brings us to our actual chart. I want to start on the monthly time frame here, because we are about to close another monthly candle in approximately 9 days. That's a little bit more than a week here. And typically we don't, you know, honestly, December tends to be a very sideways, boring month. And so far we are right on track for a sideways, boring month. Look at last December. It was a small purple doji, sideways and nothing. The December before that was right here, December 2023. And yeah, it was a nice blue candle, but in general, no major price action, nothing too crazy. Look at December 2022. It was a very small sideways purple candle. We really don't have very much typically in December. And we could even go to December 2021, which was, let's see, right here, a sideways and down candle. And then even in December 2020, we were in the middle of a massive bull run. But actually, that was a pretty good month. Let's be honest, that was pretty massive, right? That was pretty massive. But in general, we see December, not a lot of volatility. And we have to keep an eye on market cipher B because we know when the momentum comes below this 60 line, it tends to mean that we have more downside to come. We go back and look at the last time we fell below the 60 line. It was January 2022. And yeah, January 2022 was right here. And we ended up with a little bit of some relief and then boom, a big move to the downside. And pretty much every single time we get that cross of momentum, it signals more downside. Now, our weekly time frame, market cipher B, we have seen just printed 2 weeks ago now. A green dot, a big bottom. This is also a hidden bullish divergence. And so this is signaling to us that although things are more bearish in the long term, right, we are seeing things look bullish in the short term because you can backtest pretty much for all time. Every time we print a big green dot like this on market cipher B, every single time, it means the bottom is either in or very close to being in. And when I say the bottom, I mean even in a very powerful downtrend, these big bottoms, they signal that the bottom is either in or very close to being in. In fact, they're very rare, man. They are very, very rare. Look at how rare this signal is on the weekly time frame, guys. This is rare. Now, if this cycle is different, could this be another continuation pattern? Yeah, it could be. These signals are very rare. This is actually, you know what? Now that I'm looking at this chart so zoomed out, could we see a big continuation from here? I don't know. But at the very least, whenever we get a green dot on the weekly, we get some serious upside. All right, last bear market, the big green dot on the weekly gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of upside. All right, 6 weeks of upside, even in the midst of a bear market. So I would expect the next 4 to 6 weeks to be upside in general right now. Even if we're heading into a bear market, I expect I expect upside for the next few weeks leading into probably around February. Now here's where I'm kind of leaning right now. If we take the trend line of the entire bull market that we have officially now broken down from, if by the time we get to the beginning of February, that's going to be right around here, okay, right around here, the beginning of February, right around here. If we come up to this line to get a back test right around here, the price of Bitcoin is going to be around $135, give or take. We still have the opportunity to make a higher high and reject from a support resistance flip, right? I just want to point this out. We have a trend line that has been broken to the downside, and we could come for a back test of the trend line, which would give us a higher high, but then could even result in us coming down to make a lower low. Now, here's something else that I want to consider right now, okay? I'm going to consider something right now, which is this. As I look at the weekly time frame, and especially as I have just zoomed out here on Bitcoin all-time index, and notice that every single big green dot here marks a very significant bottom, all right? And the last time we printed a big green dot here, it represented that the next low we made was the bottom. All right, I'm going to entertain something here, which is this. Imagine we do something like this, where we actually do come up and make a new all-time high on Bitcoin with the help of this big green dot on market cipher B, the hidden bullish divergence, and then we reject from that trend line, right? And we come back down, we make a lower low, and we come into this territory to backtest this support resistance flip. If this were to actually happen, depending on how long it takes, we very well may do something like this, we see this wave come up, and then it comes back down. And if this happens, guys, if the weekly gives us a bullish divergence like that, then I would say that the dare I say it, the bear market's over. Now look, the way I've drawn it here, guys, that's actually still going to put us in the spring-ish, maybe summertime. This right now, the way I've drawn it is May 2026. It still lines up with us getting some downside. What the heck? It still lines up with us getting some downside in 2026. But again, remember, if this bear market is going to be underwhelming because of institutional investors, and we're not going to see such a big pullback as last time, this actually does line up pretty well with simply just trading the sideways price action, which is this, right? This is the sideways price action. Our highs are 125. I would say our lows are mid-60s, right? Because this range here, I would say the actual low is going to be the support resistance flip. Very, very interesting stuff as I consider potentially printing a weekly bullish divergence here on Bitcoin. And, you know, that could happen. That could happen sooner than previous cycles, just like the January pullback in January 2024, right? This pullback in January 2024 historically should have taken us back down to retest this, but instead we just came down to the bottom of the range and then broke out. So could we see something very similar as we head into this 4-year downtrend? It's possible, and I'm not here to say one way or the other, but I am here to say if Market Cipher B looks like this, all right, then I'm going to have to load up on some juicy long trades. Now you'll say, Jason, I thought you were never going to buy Bitcoin unless it's under $70,000. Well, you know what? I'm going to stay true to my word. I'm not going to take cash and buy Bitcoin unless we're under $70,000. But if I see some serious bullish divergences, all right, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and enter into some nice long trades. All right. Even if, now, you know, if we come down, we might come down below 70, in which case I'll buy some spot. But if we don't quite do that, we just dip below after like a new all-time high, and we dip below and we got a weekly bull div, I'm going to get myself into some nice, juicy, fat long trades, and I'll make Bitcoin in the uptrend. All right. That's how I'll do it. That's how I'll do it. Now, we come down to the daily time frame. And a few interesting things here. First of all, guys, as we know, the Bitcoin price has officially gotten a reclaim and a back test of the value area low of this very important range since Donald Trump has won the election, right? This takes us all the way back to November 2024 as the Orange Man himself comes out with the sweet, sweet victory. And not only that, but we are getting a bounce from the Fibonacci Golden Pocket 786 zone right here, okay, which is why I'm in the long trade from that area. Whoa, oh no, whew, that was a close one. I'm in the long trade from that area. I have taken a little bit of profits out. I still have about $100,000 in the position. All right, this trade, I told everybody in the Casper Crew VIP Discord that I was taking it last Monday. All right, last Monday on the 15th of December in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com. I told the community I'm taking another long trade here, and I've been holding it. I held it in the red, into the green, into the red, into the green, into the red, into the green, and now we've basically been in the green since the 19th of December, okay? And so the reason why I took that trade is because of the fact that we made a low, right? This low, by the way, did have some bullish divergences on the 4-hour time frame. We came up, we made a higher low, bouncing right from the key zone of that Fibonacci Golden Pocket 786. If we are going to see the relief that the weekly is going to, looks like she wants to give us, this is where you're going to get your bounce from. All right, this higher low, 85.9, right around there was my entry, was 85.954 on Monday. All right, 85.954 on Monday. And again, my invalidation for the idea is basically below 83.5786. And so now that we're holding this, honestly, and especially since the daily time frame has confirmed a trigger wave here, I say our next target to the upside is going to be around $96,500 at the high volume node of the entirety of this range. Now, this is where things will get crazy, because this is going to be a very key area of resistance for us. There are actually many confluences here in this area that would tell us that this is the next very important area of resistance, 96,500. But if this thing flips into support, right, let's say we come up here and we break above, we flip as support, very similar to what we did right here. This thing, right? We broke above, we flipped it to support. Then the next target is going to be on Bybit around 108. On this exchange here, it's going to be around 110. But really, I'd say our next target, if we break 96,500, is going to be between 108 and 116, between the Fibonacci golden pocket and the 786. Basically, we're looking for the same zone of Fibonacci that we're looking for down here, right? Because if you're in a trend, right, and you're looking for a continuation of the trend, you look to get in on the back test of that zone between the 618 and the 786. Right, that's what you look for. You guys remember the trade I took on Friday? Obviously, I've added to the trade I took on Friday, but Friday live, I took a long trade from this candle down here. And the reason why I took a candle from trade down here, if you guys remember, I set a limit order at the golden pocket, right? Because if we're going to get a retrace, it's going to happen from the golden pocket, all right? So that is exactly what we'd be looking for. Now, if we're in a downtrend, we look for a retrace to the golden pocket before we make it another lower low. All right, so a reclaim of 96.5, and I'm expecting us to come back well above $100,000. And if we can flip $110,000 into support, guess what? Then we're going to go for that $130,000 target, which is the back test of the entirety of the bull run, right? So if we can flip that then into our support, we're gonna come up probably, I would say, and back test this trend line from this is the bull market trend line, okay? So we're probably talking around $135,000, which also, like, let's not forget, those are key Fibonacci levels. Like, if we're gonna take our Fibonacci extension from the last entire bull bear cycle, we're gonna take it from 2018, where we made that low, to the high in 2021 to the low. You can see that's actually our 786 is right at 133. Our 786 right at 133. I'm sorry, our 1.786. And that's gonna give us some really, really nice confluence there with this trend line of the bull bear market, right? So that's gonna, yeah, right around February, we're gonna have a nice confluence right there, right? Around 130-ish, right? We've got that little zone right up here, intersectionality with the trend line, all right? Intersectionality. Good old intersectionality. Got to give a shout out to all the fat, white, ambiguously gendered college students majoring in trans, non-carbon, binary emission, intersectionality, gender studies. But yeah, that's what we would have. So I'm very excited right now because the weekly's bottomed out. The daily has a trigger wave. We're flipping resistance into support. And so the way I'm really looking at it now, guys, is this. I'm expecting upside. Either this is a higher low, right? Or we get another fake out of this low here. If we get another fake out of this low here, historically speaking, when we get the green dot on the weekly, guys, it means that next low to the downside is the buy. All right? This is not financial advice, but backtest every single green dot on market site for B on the weekly. If the green dot confirms and then we make a lower low, that next lower low is the buy. All right? So we come down here. Once we're back up here, that's a buy. All right? That's a buy. Historically speaking, right? It might not work out this time. But every other time, we've got the green dot on the weekly. Like, let's go back, for example, to August 2000 and July 2024, right? We confirm a green dot. Now, this green dot wasn't that oversold. All right, it was -7 on Market Cipher B. But the weekly confirmed green dot, always, even when it looks like garbage, right? It means that next low is simply a fake out. So we formed our low, we confirmed the green dot, we made another low. Guess what? It was a fake out, and then that was the big move. All right, this instance we didn't get to make another low. The instance before this right here, we did not make another low. The instance before that right here, we did not make another low. All right, the instance before that was right here. In this instance, we did make another low, right? We made another low, and guess what? That next low was the fake out, right? We confirmed the green dot, we made a low, that was the fake out, all right? In the, over here, even in the bear market, right? We confirmed the green dot, we don't make another low, and then from that, from the low we made, we end up with a percent gain of about 43%, guys. So, you know, these green dots, again, they're telling me that something big is brewing in the works to the upside. And really right now, my question is, are we going to go straight up from where we're at because we're bouncing from the golden pocket, or are we going to get one last fake out, either taking out the 80K low or even the 74K low before we actually get then the move, either, in my opinion, to backtest the Fibonacci golden pocket 786 zone. So the two options for me are either we come up here and make a lower high, right, and then make a lower low, or we actually make a higher high and then come back in, right? Those are pretty much what I'm looking at right now. But either way, I'm looking for some upside here. And obviously the easier way to get into a long is if we take the low again. The reason why I say that would be easier is because then that would give us a weekly bullish divergence, which, you know, you don't mess when the weekly time frame starts giving you a juicy pair of butt cheeks. You take that trade no matter what. All right, even if you're driving, you take the trade no matter what. All right, you see it on the chart, you know, you see it on the chart, open mouth for the thumbnail, and you take the trade while driving. It doesn't matter that the cops are chasing you. Here's why. You're going to make so much money on the swing trade, you can bribe the cop. Hey, officer, have you ever heard of trading on Bybit? Here, you know what? It's so funny. The last time I got pulled over for trading and driving, the cop tried to write me a ticket. I ended up getting him to sign up with my Bybit affiliate link. You know? So, that's how it works. You know, he's trying to get you to pay. Next thing you know, he's clicking your Bybit affiliate link in the description, and now he's paying you. Right? Next thing you know, I'm selling him my trading course. Look, officer, let me get you a trading course. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of trading courses, check out the free course on the Jason Casper YouTube channel. All right, let's check it out on the Jason Casper YouTube channel over here. Go to playlists, go to Jason Casper free trading course. You can get yourself a dang free 16-part, 18-part trading course. All right. Also, guys, if you want to trade with very low fees, check out KCEX, link in the description, pinned comment. I'm also trading on WEEX. I'm also trading on BLOFIN and ZoomX. And guys, if you know how to trade but you have no money, check out Klein funding, these funded accounts. I have 15 and 25% discounts on these funded accounts. Instant Pro, there's no challenge to pass. You can start trading today with 50 grand for less than $1,200 with the 15% discount. Or you could go for a $200,000 account. You do have to pass the test, but you can get it for about less than 500 bucks, guys. It's pretty crazy. All right, links in the description and all that stuff. This is where we're at with the Bitcoin chart here. I want to take a look right now at Bitcoin dominance. All right. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is coming up. All right. This is not necessarily what we want to see for altcoin gains. All right. But Bitcoin dominance is coming up, especially last week. You know, last week of December 15th, we saw a big spike in Bitcoin dominance. Let's go ahead and pull our little fib here and see if we can. Yeah, we haven't even come up back to the golden pocket here. But money is coming into Bitcoin right now. Well, money's coming into crypto, and a lot of that money is being allocated toward Bitcoin. Let's check out altcoin dominance. just to see where that money is going as it's coming into the total crypto market cap. So money last week, you know, we saw a move down, but then the week closed back above our box of support. In general, we are seeing money coming back into crypto. And what's interesting here on altcoin dominance is the weekly time frame is about to print a hidden bullish divergence. Would you look at that? The week is about to print a hidden bullish divergence from the low we made in July 24 to our present day. That could give us some upside. Again, these weekly green dots, I'm not telling anybody to trade green dots, but you have to understand, they do not mess around. Look at every single confirmed green dot we get on the weekly here. It means more upside, right? We confirm a dot here. We ended up with basically 2-3 more weeks of upside, right? From the confirmation of the green dot, which happened here, we ended up 19% higher on altcoin dominance. All right, then the next trigger wave here confirms. From the time it confirms, we end up with a 41% increase of Bitcoin dominance. All right, even in situations where we are seeing a big drop in altcoin dominance, from the confirmation of the green dot here, we saw 22% in the midst of a bear market. This one here was the worst. This one, basically, from the confirmation of the dot, we saw an 8.5% increase. So even still, even in the worst case scenario, 8.5% increase, right? Other than that, pretty much all of these guys, I mean, this one, you know, we confirm, boom, we come all the way up here. This one right here, we confirm it. We dip below a little bit from the close, a little bit of drawdown, but then a big old pump, right? So I don't think we should ignore these high time frame signals here. Of course, it's not printing yet, but as I look at the yellow oscillator here, starting to curve and point to the zero line, the wave, it looks like she might want to clip here. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting that we might see, especially since money's coming into Bitcoin, period, we might actually see all these things line up to give us some nice January gains into February. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we do have the ingredients here. Let's take a look at USDT dominance. USDT dominance also holding resistance. That's also what we'd want to see for some gains in the next few weeks, right? Want to see USDT dominance come down, maybe back test support resistance flips around this area, right? That could, even if we break out of here and head into a bear market like I'm suspecting, could still be kind of bullish in the next few weeks, given the bottomness of all these things. Again, we have a red dot on USDT dominance, weekly red dot, USDT dominance. Guess what? Well, from the time we confirmed this red dot up here, the top was already in, and we get a big move to the downside. Next red dot, the top is already in, big move to the downside. Here we go, another red dot. Is the top in, big move to the downside? Like, you know, we're seeing these kinds of patterns repeat here. Let's see, the worst case scenario was this red dot here, which we pumped straight up after that red dot. So, who knows? But I'd say things are looking like potentially we could see some movement. Let's check out ETH here. We're going to start with ETH on the 1 week time frame. So I think this is very interesting for ETH. We are printing, and of course it's very early in the week, we are printing a green dot once again here for ETH. Now, again, let's just quickly, and we'll take a look at some other charts too. Let's go to ETH on Coinbase. And let's just quickly kind of look at these green dots, okay? Again, I'm not one to trade a green dot. I'm not here to tell you to long a green dot. All right, but I do just want to go back and look historically at what these green dots have meant for ETH, all right? Let's take a look at them. Just take a quick look. And if we get a double dot like we have down here, I'll mark the first one because we've already confirmed one. All right. So we look at these dots. We're going all the way back to 2018 September. All right, this one here, guess what? We straight up dumped after it. All right, straight up dumped. The second one, from the confirmation of the green dot, we do not make another low. And from the confirmation of the green dot, we end up 175%. All right, so far, 50% we pump. All right, then we get two more. Both of these we pump. So now we're at 75% pump. All right, we got 3 out of 4. The fifth one, we straight up pump after it. All right, the sixth one, we come down a little bit. We don't make a lower low. Right? We don't make a lower low. And then we could proceed to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of upside. This one here confirms we do not make another lower low. A few weeks of upside. All right. So far, 6 out of 7, we pump. This one confirms, and guess what? We dump and we make a lower low. But when we make the lower low, guess what? That lower low was the fake out. It was the fake out. It was a fake out, and boom, we get the pump. All right. So we'll call this one, 6 out of 8. 6 out of 8, we pump right away. Right over here, we confirm. We make a slightly lower low with a bullish divergence and then pump. All right, so this one pretty much marks the bottom. All right. This one, straight up pump. Straight up pump. All right, so 8 out of 10, guys. 80% chance that we pump right away. And 90% chance that we pump if a lower low is made. So basically, all except one, the green dot meant the low was in or the next low was a fake out. So there's a 90% chance right now, going all the way back to September 2018, that what's happening here for ETH either means the low was put in here at 2,633, or if we come down again, it's going to be a fake out. And when we get the reclaim, that's going to mean we get weeks of upside, right? Weeks of upside. At least 2, but the average is like 4 to 6. So look at what's happening here with ETH. This is the Coinbase chart. We've got ourselves the sideways range. All right, we come down, we bounce from the high volume node. Not only we bounce from the high volume node, but we're also getting a bounce from the 786 golden pocket zone. So we do have a nice confluence here. Not only that, this high volume node is a pretty key support resistance flip, right? We can take it pretty much back to September 2021. It was a little bit of support. Resistance here in January 2024. Resistance all throughout the end of the summer and the fall of 2024. Flipped into support again. Flipped into resistance in the summer of 25, and now support. So again, here's the deal with ETH. I believe that if we can hold that POC, so far we are, and if we can confirm a weekly green dot, which we have, and now we're printing a second one here, well, then it becomes very probable that we can make our way back up to the $4,000 level. $4,000 ETH is our historic major support resistance flip going all the way back to May 2021. Also, if we take our fib from our high to our low, you can see that the Fibonacci golden pocket 786 zone is coming in right here as well. Also, if we just take a look at this ETH price action, we go down to a lower time frame, like maybe the daily, we can see it looks very squeezable here. All right, it looks like very, very squeezable. All right, let's flip the chart upside down real quick. All right, sometimes it helps us get a better view on things. All right. If we were to flip this chart upside down, right, we would take a look at this and we would say, you know what? Very interesting. Very interesting. We have this kind of like lots of liquidity below. Looks like we could easily give that back, right? Just get all these stop losses and then come back to the support resistance that we have from this base that we made right here, right? And we would be looking for, what would we be looking for? Well, we'd be looking for something like this, right? Maybe do that with a nice bullish divergence, right? A nice bullish divergence to then continue us in the uptrend, right? This lines up quite nicely with the idea that, well, we're heading into some downside for Bitcoin and ETH in 2026, but it looks like we're going to get some relief first, right? And so we flip it back to normal, and this looks quite possible and even probable. Now, If we can flip 4,000 into support, then that's a game changer. Why is that a game changer? Because such a big multi-year level is $4,000, and once we're above, this is also easily squeezable, which means we could come up to our next major target of $5,500. Now, Bitcoin does not have to hit a new all-time high for ETH to do this, okay? Because Bitcoin has much more important resistances and a lot more confluences than ETH does, all right? But this, again, this is like if Bitcoin can flip 96 and we see ETH way outperform Bitcoin, then I don't see why ETH can't flip 4,000. Now, let's take a look also at Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Because as you can see, the Ethereum versus Bitcoin pair is primed, in my opinion, to see Ethereum far outperform Bitcoin, right? Because of the fact that we came all the way down to the bottom of the range, we did so with a bullish divergence, right? Prices getting lower as the momentum's coming higher. And then from that bullish divergence, what do? We make a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high. We make a higher low at around 31.32, back testing the high volume node. And then we confirm a green dot on the weekly, all right? Now, we're confirming a green dot on the weekly. I know it does not mean as much for the Bitcoin ETH pair. I'm sorry, for the ETH Bitcoin pair as it does for the USDT pairs. But we're putting everything together here. We're saying, look at the money flow. It's finally coming up. We have not seen the money flow coming up on the ETH Bitcoin pair since December 2019. We have not seen the money flow look like this since December 2019. It's pretty crazy, right? And so now, and we've changed into bullish market structure, all right? Very similar to what we did. Well, actually, no, like we weren't even really in bullish market structure back here. So don't be surprised if, as things start to get some relief based on these bottomed out weekly timeframes, that we don't see ETH outperform Bitcoin by like at least 60%. You know, could we see it come all the way back up to the top? Maybe, but I'd say, you know, 60%, or maybe up to around this area, maybe 60 to 90%. I think is not so crazy to see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin like that. We always see it happen. I mean, literally since April, guys, we've seen Ethereum outperform Bitcoin by 150%, right? So even just in the last few weeks, we've seen Ethereum outperform Bitcoin by 22%, right? So 60%, I'd say, is quite conservative, considering, you know, the lack of volatility that we've seen in the last half of November and December so far. We've seen Ethereum outperform Bitcoin by 20%. That is pretty significant, in my opinion. This is definitely a big change. You know, I do think it's interesting that the entirety of the bull market, we have seen this, with ETH underperforming Bitcoin in this sloppy kind of disgusting looking sloping downward channel, right? And now for the first time, we're seeing an actual change of market structure that we have not seen in a very long time. I don't think that should be ignored. So again, am I saying that everything's going to pump and ETH is going to definitely hit new all-time highs? I'm not going to say that, but what I am going to say is things are looking like, as Bitcoin gets a move to the upside against the dollar, and as ETH gets a move to the upside against the dollar, we're going to see proportionately Ethereum get a much bigger move, a much bigger percent gain than Bitcoin, based on the USDT chart on ETH and the ETH Bitcoin chart, and just understanding the fact that, historically speaking, on Bitcoin, we're going to see a little bit of a rally within the next few weeks based on these bottomed out weeklies, unless things are totally different this time, which could be, right? I mean, nothing's 100% guaranteed in trading, but if we're going to go just based on historic data, I mean, there's a very high chance that we're going to see some real relief here. All right, some real relief here. So let's see. Shout out to Dave Digital Am I in any trades at the moment? Yeah, I'm in a few trades. Right now, I'm short on Bitcoin from 126, I guess, or whatever that is. I don't know. This is from the October 6th. All right, the October 6th trade that I gave in the Casper crew. All right. I'm also still in that long trade from Friday that I took live during the stream. I've realized a small profit on it. I'm also in a little bit of a short trade from this morning when we got the fake out of this high. Haven't taken any profit. Don't really plan to unless we get a major dump. And I'm still in the long from the trade I gave in the Casper crew last Monday from the Golden Pocket. So I'm technically in 4 Bitcoin positions. They're not the biggest positions in the world. They're kind of small. I've got about 100 grand on this trade here. I've got about 40 grand on this trade, and then combined here, you know, I have about 85 grand. So it's like about a little bit more than $200,000 in total on all these positions. You know, if you guys were watching my trading a while ago, I mean, I missed those days. I missed the, and we'll be back there. All right, we will be back there. But we had some good stuff back in the day, man. We had some good stuff. My $1 million Bitcoin trades, you know, we had some good ones. We had some good ones, honestly. Man, we had some good trades back in these days. Target 2, guys, from the Casper crew long setup that we gave. Yeah, where was that juicy trade I was in? I want to just see it. You know, there's something nice about seeing a big position here. This one looks like it was only $100,000. Must have been another position I had open at the same time. That was a $300,000 trade. Where was the one where Bitcoin went straight to a new all-time high? Was that this one? Man, I was in the zone back in those days, guys. I was literally rucking. I had a weighted vest on. I had a weighted vest on. All right? I've got $1 million on the trade. All right? Weighted vest. $1 million. Up 30K. 7,000 unrealized. Yeah, we'll get back here, man. We'll get back here. Shout out to Preparing for War. He said we're going to 123. He was right. We did end up going to 123. We never hit my... Oh, wait. We did. We hit my final TP there. We eventually did hit my final TP. Man. Don't worry, guys. We'll be back. We'll be back with the big money. All right? You just have to be in the mindset. All right? This face right here is the face of in the zone trading. All right? This is the face. All right? That's the face. We got to get back to there. All right? We're not in that mindset right now. We will. We'll be there. All right? We'll be there. We'll be there. Man. Would love to see you hold the short the entire bear market. Yep, I'm not taking any more profit on that. If we're gonna go ahead and continue in the bear market, I am not taking any more profits on that until we're under 50K. The S&P is looking bearish, really. Single print at 81. Order block in the daily. That's a good one. Good place to look. Shout out to Dave Digital. He says, "I thought Jay said he'd only give us to it straight. Sounds kind of gay, calling for an ETH all-time high." You're right, man. What am I doing? I'm saying it's possible, bro. It's possible. It's possible. Look, here's the thing. All these bullish scenarios I'm talking about are possible, but the reason why they're possible is because just go back and backtest these bottom signals on the weekly. I'm not saying we're going to pump straight up, but I am saying we have a few weeks of upside, and that upside, depending on what levels we reclaim, could continue, right? Obviously, right now, our first level is 96,500, right? We flip 96.5, then we're probably going to go up to around 108, right? Fibonacci golden pocket, right? We flip this, then there is no reason why we can't come higher. There's no reason why. Right? There's absolutely no reason why. We have a hidden bullish div on the weekly. We flipped major resistances into support. And once again, we're literally in the range, right? We're trading in the range. So the top of the range is a new all-time high, right? We reject from 96, then we probably come lower. We reject from 108, well, then we probably come lower. And that's what we should be looking for first, right? We should be looking for that first, based on our high time frame bearish signals. But we also have to be willing to go with the flow, right? And I'm willing to go with the flow. I'm willing to go with the flow, right? I'm willing and open to look for opportunities no matter what happens, all right? But please, don't let me fool you, because Jason Casper's still in the short, and Jason Casper's still hoping to buy Bitcoin under 50K, all right? Good old Jason Casper, all right? 1 + 1 = 11, that's right. Yeah, gold pumping to a new all-time high right now. Should you buy Polkadot now, Crypto Hunter? Shout out to Bob is going 8821. Well, look, I've heard mixed things about Polkadot, all right? I've heard mixed things. Mostly I've heard that Polkadot, because of the tokenomics, it has no hope of reaching its all-time high. Look, if you buy Polkadot now, if it comes back up to $11, it's a 550% potential gain. If it fills the scam wick, that's a 69% loss. I mean, you gotta really weigh the risk reward with it. It looks like we're about to print a daily green dot, a weekly green dot soon. The 5-day money flow looks like decent. We do have some bullish divergences confirming here. I can't tell you what to do, all right? All I can say is DOT is literally at the bottom, all right? Polkadot's literally at the bottom. And there's much more upside than downside, all right? So do your own research fundamentally on whether you think this thing has the potential to pump. I currently hold a bunch of DOT that's in the red big time, and I'm not selling it. All right, I'm not selling it. I'm just gonna hold it. If it goes to zero, it goes to zero. But I'm just gonna keep holding it. If it goes to zero, it goes to zero. Do your own research fundamentally. I mean, literally, we have not had a chance to buy DOT this low since the summer of 2020. Is there any hope future for this? Some people say no. Other people say yes. I'm not the guy to tell you that fundamentally. All I can say is, if you have any kind of bullish hope for Polkadot, you can't get it at a better price than this. Unless it comes back down to the October 10th wick. In which case you can get it for a better price. Now, if for some reason DOT can hit new all-time highs, and again, that's a big if, all right, please. But that is almost a 3,000% gain, right? So we're talking big percentage gains here for if you're putting smaller money on here. You know, when you're dealing with risk to rewards like this, if you feel like fundamentally it has potential, then you have to say, I'm risking a very little bit amount of money to potentially make a very big amount of money, right? You know, 3,000% on $100. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. So, yeah, now do your own research. That's all I can say. Shout out to Crypto Lolek. Hey, Jason, your free course rocks. Look at Cardano on the 1 to 4 hour. Preparing for War says, bought the bottom of all since like forever and I'm still in the red. Do I own Ondo? I don't. Shout out to Crypto Lolek. Thank you so much for the super chat. We will take a look at Cardano on the 1 to 4 hour. So the 4 hour, we have a bottom. We don't really have we have a slight bull div, very slight. We have money flow getting higher and a trigger wave here, unable yet to break market structure to the upside. So a reclaim of 38.14 is our first major sign of strength. That's obviously a very important level here because it's been support, since November, Friday the 21st. Support again, and then we lost it. Now it's resistance. The 2 hour, we do see nice bull divs on the 2 hour here. Nice trigger wave. We've broken momentum on the 2 hour. The 1 hour, you know, I mean, depending on how you want to look at this, it either looks nice with the bull divs here and the bull divs here, or potentially this is a hidden bearish divergence. But yeah, I'd say first real sign of strength we need to be to reclaim 38.14. Get to move up, back test, and then we could easily take this, right? We could easily take that and come back to our December 9th highs, potentially, if we can get above the golden pocket, 786. So this would be the first kind of move that I would look for, and then either move back down or, you know, the reclaim, which would have to be, you know, ranging, looking for like a local long setup or something. Then you could maybe get the breakout, because, you know, it is true that if we can make a higher high than 48.49, then yeah, it's easy to squeeze this stuff back up. But there's a lot of things that have to happen before that can happen, right? And I don't want to make anybody bullish prematurely here. But yeah, I'm basically saying, like, it's possible, but we need to see some signs of strength on the market structure itself. Now, you know, something else that is quite interesting here is this trend line where we have the tap, the tap, the tap, the tap, and then we have the breakout, and now it looks like we're coming back down to maybe get a back test. Like maybe this whole thing here is the back test of the trend line, right? Maybe, I don't know. Again, I would want to wait at least to see us reclaim this very important local level where we're currently finding resistance, and we've been finding resistance here. It looks like we want to do it, right? But until we actually make that step on the market structure, then I'd say, you know, it's less probable. And really, when it comes to entering trades, you have to make it about the probabilities, and that's why it's always so important to wait for a setup and not just long or short because you think the price can go higher. Like, yeah, of course it could go higher here, but right now, do we have a really good setup? Let's kind of just, when we're dealing with about a 10% stop loss right now, if we were to enter here to come up to target number 1, which at the very best is not even a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Like, to me, this is just not a good trade, as opposed to if we were given something like this where we do make a higher high and then we come back to test the support, which has been the support all this time. Well, now we can get in like this, right? And now we have ourselves a 4-to-1 risk reward or a 3-to-1 risk reward with the same target, but instead of risking 1 to make like less than 1, or risking 1 to make less than 2, we can risk 1 to make 3, or risk 1 to make 4, because we waited for a setup, right? Now, of course, when you wait for setups, that means sometimes you don't get the setup and you miss the trade, right? So everything's a give and take. Personally, I like to wait for a setup and risk missing a trade, because there's always going to be another trade, then force a trade, lose money, and then now I realize, well, I should just wait for a setup, you know? How do I get along with the Amish community? I don't really communicate much with the Amish community, to be honest. If I did, I don't know how I'd get along with them. I don't know Charmin, and I don't drive around in Buc-ee's, and I don't eat shoe fly pie. But I love shoe fly pie. I love it. Man, I love shoe fly pie. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you guys about how much I love shoe fly pie. I love shoe fly pie. When I was When I was first married, my mother-in-law would make shoe fly cake. And she would give me these giant pans of cake. I would eat the whole thing in like 2 days. I'm talking like a giant pan of cake, all right? Like as wide as my shoulders. It would be gone in 2 days. I'm surprised I didn't develop diabetes, honestly. Man, it was so good. It was so good. And you know, I'll tell you what I would do with it too. I would put it in a giant bowl. I'd pour a little bit of milk on there. And I'd take some vanilla ice cream too. And I'd mash it all up, mash it all together, and eat it. So good. So good. Let me tell you. I'll tell you. You know, the chest and arm pumps in the gym the next day after eating that much pancreas crushing sugar are pretty intense, all right? But the long-term health effects are definitely not good, okay? Shout out to Crypto Crank. He says, trades I'm looking at, Aave looks amazing, and XRP, it's now or never for both. Check out Aave. I remember trading Aave in 2020, summer, when it first got listed and pumped like crazy. Actually, I traded it on Binance. I remember trading Aave on Binance Futures back in the day when you could trade on Binance Futures. You guys remember that? Yeah, must have been the fall, I guess. Must have been the fall and not the summer, because it wasn't even on Binance back in the summer. So it must have been the fall. But I remember getting some nice longs back in 2020 on Aave. In fact, I have this vivid memory of being in Walmart with my wife, checking my trades. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't believe how much it was pumping, baby. All right. Make it or break it for Aave. We've got some hidden bull div here on Aave. You know, this is crazy analysis that we had back in August 2024. Where like we flipped this level into support and we're going up to the golden pocket. Close. You know, we flipped it into support. We came up we front ran that golden pocket. Man, it's a good thing I didn't have a limit TP there. All right, let's take a look at Aave. Isn't Aave that stuff that people, it's a cactus, they eat it, Aave nectar, right? It's supposed to be healthier sugar, Aave nectar? Or is that agave nectar? I don't know. Let's pull some fibs here. Let's pull the volume from this area. I mean, we're trying to hold that POC right now. The weekly. If we get another move down on the weekly, that could be good. Oof, the daily I don't really like. I don't really like the daily right now. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really feeling Aave too much right now. I prefer like another move down. But let's see. I guess it is now or never. I mean, we're literally back down at the low from November 21st. So it is a now or never kind of deal on Aave. It needs to hold 146 or it free falls to death. Yeah, man. The DeFi narrative will return at some point. A video on the other channel soon. Yeah, you know, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Agave, and it's no different than high fructose corn syrup. Dang, that sucks. The best meal ever is fried chicken and vanilla ice cream. Man, I'll tell you though. I'll tell you, back in the day, everyone used to go to Wendy's or Burger King or McDonald's and dip their dang chicken McNuggets in the ice cream. If you didn't do it, then there's something wrong with you. ICP is pumping? Interesting. Divine Hood's just streaming next. That's cool. Shout out to Divine Hood. Shout out to Crypto Crank. Yeah, back when we had thousands of BNB paying for our fees. You know, it is a shame that Binance really... I tried to stay on Binance for so long. You know, I tried to stay on Binance for so long. Can I break down the CoinLine CBD div for that last Friday long? Well, I did take the long on Friday live. All right, so check out the... Man, I miss these days, though. I'm going to rewatch this stream to get me stoked. This is the stream where I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the stream, and I just took the computer with... Yeah, it's that stream. It's that stream. You gotta go. You gotta go. When you gotta go, you gotta go. All right? And, look, when you got $1 million on the line, when you gotta go, you gotta go. All right? Man, I miss those. I miss these streams, man. Screaming into the plunger. And I gotta get stoked again. I gotta get stoked again. All right, here we go. I'm gonna screenshot this for myself just to get me motivated again. $1 million, screaming to a plunger. You know, up almost 40K. That's what we need to get back to. You know, this is some boring stuff right here. Some boring stuff. There's some boring stuff right here, man. Can't wait to see my ugly Christmas sweater. I don't wear sweaters. Yeah, you love grilling some steak? I love grilling some steak as well. Yeah, so this trade over here, let's see. Yeah, so I had the limit order here. I had the limit order, and we did get filled. When did we get filled? Yeah, we got filled. Was in the red for a little bit. But the reason why we did that was because of the CBD, which, let's see if we could find it. Yeah, so we were looking at this CBD here, saying, you know, from these lows to the current low, we were seeing the CBD getting lower and the open interest getting higher. And we can go back now and take a look at that again on our 15 minutes here. This was Friday, right? This is the trade right here. From the low to this high, you could see that the let's see. Right here, the price was getting higher, but the CBD was getting lower, and the open interest was getting higher. So it's telling us shorts are opening up more than longs, right? Open interest increasing. The CBD is telling us, okay, yeah, open interest is increasing. People are opening their trades. What direction are they opening in? Short, right? And even though more shorts than longs are opening up, price is holding support locally right here. And yeah, in that moment there, I think I entered right here on this green candle. It was because I saw some nice things on Market Cipher B in the moment. So on Market Cipher B, what do we see there on Friday? We saw the low time frames giving us some nice bullish divs as we were bouncing from that POC. So we were bouncing from this previous range POC right here. Right. And as we zoom in, we're seeing that we are building bullish CBD and also some bullish divergence here on the 1 minute, right? Not only on the 1 minute, but I'm pretty sure on our 6 minute as well, right? A little bit right there. So that was why I took that trade on Friday. But, you know, it wasn't big size. It was mostly a hedge against my short, which did get stopped out. That short trade did get stopped out for a $2,200 profit. And, yeah, so that was mostly a hedge against the short. I've realized a small profit on the long, and then I added to it a little bit this morning So my entry's at the Sunday low, right? So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with that. What do I do with my money from crypto? Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. Oh my goodness. So much stuff. I'll tell you. Lamborghinis out the wazoo. Rolexes. I'm telling you. In fact, how do you think I afforded this fancy, expensive shirt? Or these expensive headphones? It's all my crypto gains, baby. Yeah, I need a Market Cypher Christmas sweater. Yeah, I do need that. Shout out to Bar Dazan, who says, check out Caspa for me, please. Big catalysts coming. All right, let's check out Caspa. All right, my own namesake token. All right, let's remove everything and look at this afresh. So, objectively speaking, we are coming to a pretty key area of support resistance flip that goes back to 2023 of March. All right, this box right here is very key. This is pretty key support. We formed a weekly bottom. The most oversold wave we've ever had on MEXC, at least. Let's go to the daily. The daily gave us some bullish divergence. I want to say that we changed market structure here, but I wouldn't really consider it until we can come above this. But at least maybe you could say very, very locally. You know, we had our high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So yeah, you could say we made a higher high. And then we're coming back to make a nice triple bottom, right? Giving us also the inverted head and shoulders, all right? It does look pretty nice, actually. It actually does look pretty nice for some upside based on our weekly, based on our daily. And so let's just assume a aggressive entry and assume the low is in, right? Obviously, for our first target, it's not a good risk to reward. Not at all. But let's just see if, because remember, in this aggressive entry, we're assuming something big will happen. So if we can come up to value area low, that's actually a 3-to-1 right now. If we pull our fib from high to low, I mean, assuming we make it back above this area, there's no reason why we can't hit the POC and then the value area high of the range. Is this going to happen? I mean, look, I don't think right now there's any real reason to think this could happen all the way back to the top of the range, unless we're surprised and we don't enter into a 9-month-long sideways and down. But here's another way to look at it. All right, again, you got to do your own research, risk management, all that. We're at support. We have some bullish signs here. At least we know where we're wrong. And at least we do have some good potential targets here that are actually like respectable, right? They're actually respectable targets. If you want to be even more aggressive and assume that the higher low is in, right? This is being even more aggressive with the stop loss, okay? This is 4-to-1 risk reward, POC, 8 times more than you're risking, value area high, 15 times more. I mean, assuming the low is in and this is a true higher low, a respectable target at that value area low, right around POC of the local range, is a decent risk to reward ratio. I mean, if we go for this lower one, it's still decent, 3.74 to 1. Yeah, so if you're ultra bullish on this, fundamentally, because of big catalysts, I mean, we're at support. We haven't seen any real signs of strength yet, and the price action, a real sign of strength would have to basically be come up to value area low, come back down for the back test, right? And basically we'd be looking for this support resistance flip to now hold once again as support, right? after coming up to here, that could give us another entry, in which case then we could have ourselves, you know, ironically, if we waited for a better setup like that, it's kind of the same risk reward as it is if we were to enter right now, assuming that the higher low is in. We're shooting for this, right? So you got to weigh it out for yourself. Obviously, more aggressive entries give you better entries, but less probability that they play out. But here's the thing. No trade is a high risk trade unless you are risking too much, right? There's such thing as a low probability trade, and oftentimes we conflate the terms. I conflate the terms. I might say it's a high risk trade, but really what I mean is it's a low probability trade. You should never be taking a high risk trade. All right? You should always have your risk under control no matter what trade you're taking. It could be a very low probability trade, but it should never be a high risk trade, right? All right, you're going to wait to backtest support resistance. Thank you so much for the super chat. Talk about all the monitors. Yeah, with all my crypto gains, I buy lots of monitors. I mean, you should see my trading office right now. Literally, like you can't see it because of the green screen, but my all 4 walls are covered in those really big curved monitors, and all I do all day is look at these screens. And Thor buys mountain bikes. Shout out to Thor. Shout out to Thor. Yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. Any eggs today? Yeah, there are eggs today, guys. The egg code for the day is guava. All right. If you want some eggs for some cash giveaways in the Discord, go check out the quests section of the Discord, free and paid, and use the code guava. All right, guava, because I'm getting ready to go to Cuba. No way we're hitting 1,000 likes. There's no way. There's literally no way. Oh my goodness. This is like probably the worst stream I've had viewer-wise in a long time. Let's see. Peaked at about 810 viewers. Currently sitting around 638. Look, maybe we'll get it back. Who knows? You know, you never know. You know, either the channel's dead or it'll somehow live on. We'll have to wait and see. Come back in February. Come back in February. Wait and see. Yeah, it's not Mango. Shout out to Mango Mike. Shout out to Mango Mike in the house, baby. You trade on the toilet? So do I. All traders know the old. It's a trap. You sit on the toilet with your laptop, and then your legs fall asleep, and you can't get up. You're stuck there for hours. You know. Just want to wait until one more 5-minute candle closes. Wife's knocking on the door. Jay, you okay in there? Yeah. I'll be right out. Hours go by. Hours go by. What are my targets for the short? I'll be honest with you. I don't really have any like. Oh, that's not true. I have a limit order set at my entry here. I have a limit order set at my long entry right now. Yeah, at 87.5. Basically, just take out Sunday's low. I'll take a profit on the short. Look for another long trade if that happens. But yeah, I mostly shorted this simply because we saw CDW, Chickens Drinking Water of the High. I saw some slight bear div, and I just got stopped out of my other short trade for a $2,200 profit. And so for me, it's like, well, I have a valid entry. I have a valid reason to short this. I just closed $2,200 in profit, you know, guaranteed to have this long trade open. So the amount I'm risking on this short is so little that it just made the most sense for me to short it, you know, given the context of my own trading. But yeah, I'm really kind of not looking at TP on this short unless we come back down to this area. Yeah, other than that, I'll just let it get stopped out. I'm kind of hoping that the long runs. I would love that. I would love to let the longs run. And I would just love that. I just feel like, can't we get a bullish week on Bitcoin? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. How do I feel about hidden bull divs on CBD as opposed to classic? Do you mean you say hidden bull divs on CBD? Do you mean like, oh man, like because for me, when I look at a CBD divergence, it looks to me like a hidden RSI divergence, right? Like a normal CBD divergence looks like a hidden divergence on the RSI. But if you mean like, for example, the price is getting lower, but the CBD is getting higher, is that what you mean? Like I'm trying to like look at a good example of that, like, but I can't really find one. Is that what you mean preparing for war? I would consider that, if that is what you mean, I would consider that more of like lack of participation. So like here we kind of had one, right? We had the price make a higher high, but the CBD made a lower high. So this is like a standard divergence, but it's happening on a decrease of open interest. So really what this means is that we know these aren't shorts opening here necessarily. Like that's not why CBD is getting lower, right? Really what it means is there's no longs to push the price up, right? There's literally lack of market participation. This move is unsustainable because there's no real money coming in. Open interest is decreasing and the CBD is getting lower, which is basically telling us like longs are closing out of their positions, right? So longs are closing out. There's no, you know, and volume's going down, and there's just no more steam in the market to keep pushing it up. And so that kind of divergence, they do tend to play out. I don't really trade them, to be honest with you. I haven't backtested them in a really long time. I used to look at them much more, but I would consider that lack of market participation, where basically there's not enough participants in the market for the trend to continue. It's really no different than, you know, whenever you see a big decrease in open interest in general, you expect that move to be weak, right? And so if we pump up and we're hitting like, you know, for example, like let's say we run into a golden pocket here, or we get a CDW or something on a big decrease of OI, it's like, you know, the move is unsustainable and there's no real money backing it. So if we hit the resistance, there's a good chance we're gonna get a rejection from it, right? And in this instance of this big OI move to the downside, I mean, yeah, once the high was in, and it took a while, but eventually we did get a big drop, you know? Is that what you mean preparing for war? I should actually backtest those again, because I did used to trade them more, but I always revert back to my market cipher divergences, and then using just regular CBD for some confluence sometimes. That's a bear div. Trend up. Price comes down, but CBD is much lower. Oh, that's... Okay, so preparing for it, that's the only kind of divergence I actually trade. So the only kind of CBD divergence I actually trade is what looks like a hidden divergence. So like... So for example, like this here, you know, this Friday long trade, we had the CBD getting lower as the open interest was increasing. This is the only kind of CBD divergence I actually trade, because what this is telling you is there are a lot of shorts like entering into the market, like open interest increasing, so we know trades are opening, CBD decreasing, so we know they're shorts. And yet, because the price is unable to continue in the downtrend, we assume, we infer, should I say, we infer that there's absorption happening here, right? That big players are preventing the price to go lower, because as these shorts are opening, these market orders are opening, bigger players have limit orders set here. So as the retail, I'm going to use that word, as the retail is entering shorts market order, the whales are having their limit orders filled, and the limit orders are preventing that price from coming lower, because every time they hit the short button, instead of pushing price down, they're simply just filling along, right? So that's the only kind of CVD divergence I actually trade. Clear all drawings. All right, we're starting to get a little bit of a move back down here right now. Dang. Was hoping we would pump, but don't worry, it's not over until the fat lady starts to sing. All right, shout out to Muhammad, who appreciated the free course. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. We're gonna do some games, I think, in the Casper Cruise. So, some chill afternoon games. God bless you guys. In the name of Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah. Lord willing, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Peace.